So Chick Corea just passed. He's 79 years old. This was confirmed by a Facebook post recently. He passed from a rare form of cancer that was only recently discovered. And I just wanted to share my thoughts with you in this less edited YouTube video on what Chick Corea, the great jazz pianist, jazz fusion composer, meant to me as a musician, and what I think he really meant for a lot of people. He was one of the great living, until recently, jazz fusion and jazz musicians. He's honestly one of the greatest jazz pianists of all time, just for his impact, who he played with, what his music meant for people. And, you know, I think that's something that is important to always step back and recognize. We still have Herbie Hancock is still living, thankfully. We have Wayne Shorter is still living, thankfully. We have a lot of great jazz musicians of Chick Corea's time still with us, and I think it's important to recognize that they won't be here forever. And unfortunately, Chick Corea is no longer with us. The first time I heard Chick Corea's music was in high school, and it was my high school guitarist for my high school band showed me his record, Where Have I Heard You Before, or Where Have I Known You Before, Return to Forever album with a song called Song to the Pharaoh Kings. And Song to the Pharaoh Kings, for me, was kind of a light bulb moment in what I wanted to do with music, because it was jazz fusion at its most aggressive, most playful, most brilliant. I think those are the weirdly three terms to describe this that don't seem to all go together: playful, aggressive, and brilliant, but they really do with that song. We had Stanley Clarke, you had Al Di Meola, you had Lenny White, and Chick Corea, of course, on that record. And there's this energy to it that was so electric, literally electric, because electric fusion. Jazz fusion was the combination of jazz and electric rock and roll. And, you had the chops and the harmonic energy of the jazz musicians of the time combined with the rhythmic vitality and the timbral volume of rock musicians. And Chick Corea, was really big into that and continued throughout his entire career. With Return to Forever in the 70s, electric band in the 80s, he had an acoustic band too, but then he came back and was always making great music with great musicians. I was the 5-piece band in the 2000s that he had with John McLaughlin, Vinnie Colaiuta. He had Christian McBride and Kenny Garrett. And in fact, I actually saw not the 5-piece band, but a similar band with Chick Corea, Kenny Garrett, Christian McBride, and Roy Haynes, who's still very thankfully with us. He's 95. But the 4-piece band blew my mind when I saw them at Wolf Trap in Alexandria, Virginia. These titans of jazz, younger musicians, I guess, comparatively with Kenny Garrett and Christian McBride, but also Roy Haynes and Chick Corea, and just the synergy, how they melded sound together as personalities. You had 4 very distinct voices coming together, and this beautiful combination of souls, I guess, not to get too flowery with it. But, Chick Corea very much was a musician that I thought of as being very playful, very light, light as a feather. How his touch on the keyboard had a very particular sound to it. And when you have that kind of musician who has such a singular voice, who inspires so many people, when they pass, it really kind of affects you. It affects me. Just because I have a personal relationship with his music. I have a personal relationship with his voice. The same way that I have a personal relationship with my friends. I have a personal relationship with musicians that I care about because their voice has meant so much to me. And Chick Corea's passing has definitely affected me in more than I thought it would. I'm not sure how much more I can say about it, but I just wanted to make this video saying that I'm going to miss his voice. And even though he is past and still had a lot of great music left within him, I think it's important to recognize what's special before it's gone. Anyway.